In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up your Actors Access profile specifically for those of us in musical theater. It is essential now for you to have your profile set up, organized, notifications turned on, all of the things that you can use inside this one profile to get opportunities for auditions. By the end of this video, you're going to be submitting with confidence and clarity. Let's go. Let's set up your account if you haven't done so already. So we're going to hit register. You have a couple of options here. The first one is to start with the free one. I would suggest that if you haven't already set it up, start it for free, and then after you finish this video, then you can pay the account to get the annual submission and have access to everything you need besides uploading additional photos and additional video media. And when we get there, I'll tell you how to navigate that. I do suggest if you are going to pay for it, if you haven't done it already, do the $68, do the full year. It's totally worth it than paying for submission and every single submission separate. So let's start out. We are going to click register and we are going to check the box that is appropriate for you. Go through, fill out all this information for you. After you go to your email and authenticate your account is set up, it looks like this. I know she is nice and fancy now. This is the updated version of Actors Access, and it is very colorful and has all of these buttons. So we're going to start off by setting your account up step by step with the basics. First off, let's go to the top. You can navigate it here at the very top and scroll down, or you can navigate it with these big colored blocks here as well. This is just the way that I do it. I find it easy to go to the top because I've been doing this for a while and the new blocks take me to it's a little bit more confusing for me. So let's go to the top. We're going to set up your account. Click on My Account. We're going to start here. If you have already upgraded, you won't see the top yet, but I haven't upgraded this account yet. I will after I set it up. You already have a username. I would say use like your basic name. Okay, you have your password set up here. Under breakdowns on the left-hand corner over here, choose primary region. You want to select New York. If you're not based in New York, you still want to start with New York because most of the auditions are going to happen there. Now, let me be very clear here. If you are in LA and you do not want to go to New York for any auditions and you do not want to see any submissions, then start with LA. Okay, if you are in Chicago, obviously start there. But if you're in any of these other areas, we're going to pick a primary focus for you depending on your needs. If you are someone that's close to New York, and you want to make sure that you see all of those auditions because most of them are in New York. Select New York. I have a lot of clients that I tell to select New York because they're trying to move there. If you're thinking about moving or you just want to see what's happening with this free account, most of the auditions are going to be based in New York City. So I always say start with a primary where you want to be working and the jobs that you want to see, which is typically New York. Okay, but it depends on you. If you're somewhere right now where you're like, I don't want to go to New York, I don't want to be there, pick your region, start with that as your primary. Next, up here in the top right-hand corner, notify by email when a project is released that contains one or more matches to my profile. I highly suggest that. You're going to get an email in your inbox when new jobs come up, and it's an easy way to stay up to date and just click and submit for your auditions. Okay, so let's take a look over here at the other options that you have. So we want to pick two if we can. Start off with New York and then pick your secondary location here, right? Maybe it's LA, maybe it's Chicago, maybe you're in the Midwest. You're not going to see a lot of them, to be honest with you, in those areas, but it is a good option if you're still living there and you want to know what's happening. Okay, so I'm actually going to pick New England for this client because that is where they are also back and forth between New York and Boston. So we're going to pick those two. Scroll down here. This is specific to you and your needs. Do not notify me of. If you are union, you do not want to see non-union projects. But if you're someone that's your equity, but you want to see non-union film projects because you're not SAG-AFTRA yet, then you may want to keep that unticked. I'm not SAG-AFTRA yet, and so I do want to see non-union projects for film and television because that's something I'm interested in. Up to you. Okay, reality TV, if this is something you want to do, I know this client does not. Student films or projects, again, there are student films and projects that are equity sometimes and SAG-AFTRA, so it really depends on you. Real people projects, up to you. I know this client does not want that. Background roles, again, up to you if you're wanting to kind of start to dive into film and television. And then non-paying roles, up to you. I know this client does not want to do anything for free right now. Okay, updates. I'd like to be informed of new features. I would suggest ticking that. There's not a lot that comes out, but it's just good to know. CMAL, you definitely want to make sure this is ticked. You want to know when you get an audition or a request for tapes. Yes, tick it. make sure you have the right email address, okay? EcoCast reminders, notify me of upcoming EcoCast reminders. Yes, you want that too. Go to the very bottom, click the red button that says Save Changes. Okay, make sure all of this is correct. You can go back at any time and you can change this and update this based on you and your situation and your circumstances. So if you're not seeing any jobs lately, you may want to kind of play around with LA. You may want to play around with Toronto. You may want to try to see what else is out there for you if you don't have an agent. Okay, cool. Let's go back up to the top. We're going to scroll down to contact information. We're just going to go down this and do it one by one. Contact information. You want to update this based on your current address, your location, and the primary phone and the primary email address, also an alternate email address. After all of that contact information has been updated and saved, again, we're going to go back to the top at My Tools, scroll down, and now we are going to start going through your profile and setting this up. Or if you're watching this and you're wanting all my tips and tricks, we're going to go through it and update it and do a little refresher for you. Let's start at About Me. Let's update the general details for your profile so it is very clear and concise, both for you when you're getting filtered notifications and also for those that you are submitting for. You don't have to fill any of this out if you don't feel comfortable. This is totally up to you. You are in control of your profile. You're in control of how you interview, and this is how we interview as a musical theater performer. So let's go ahead and fill all of this out. If you'd like to select anything on this column right here, you can do so. Also, union status. So if you are a member of Actors Equity Association, you want to tick that box. If you are a member of SAG-AFTRA, if you are eligible, any of these as well, just double check and make sure that if you are EMC, you're selecting this one, not the top one. And if you are equity, that you're selecting this one, not the EMC one. Any of the other union that you are a part of, tick all of these off. If you are non-union, do tick non-union, because this is an easy way for people to identify whether you're union or not, because they're not going to get your PDF of your resume that says non-union. This is the way that you identify in Actors Access in your profile if you are union or not, and what unions you are affiliated with. So if you're non-union, you will want to tick that box. Okay, let's scroll down here. So we select anything that you would like. As we scroll down, you're going to see athletic endeavors. Pick the ones in this category that you are the strongest. If you have like a basic level of any of these, leave it off. We just want to show strengths, and it's better to be specific and concise rather than being everything to everyone and then showing up and not being able to do that skill at a very high level. So we're looking for things that you are very, very, very strong at. Like you could show up today and you could body surf, or you could show up today and you can baton twirl. Anything that is going to be on your resume as a musical theater performer in that special skills or the skills section at the bottom, we can include here. That's all we're doing. We're taking everything from your resume and we're putting it into this profile. This is really for film and television, but sometimes it does float over into us as musical theater performers. Next up, we have performance skills. So scroll down. This one is going to be extremely relevant for us in musical theater and theater. So anything that you play well that you have listed on your resume is going to be extremely important. So if you play an instrument, if you have a range, you want to include that in here as well. So I'm going to click a couple of elements for my client. Next is accents, dialects, anything that you feel like you have on your resume as a performer. We just want to transfer that now to your Actors Access profile. Next up, we do have ESL. If you have English as a second language, you can tick this box. And then we have fluent languages. So anything that you are fluent in, meaning you could show up today and have a conversation with somebody. Again, we want to be really clear and honest with this. Better to be honest up front than to be called in for something and it not be a good situation. You know what I mean? Then we come to the additional skills section. You can really be specific in here. Again, there's no like, you have to have this or this is better than the other. It's really just about you filling out what you want someone to know. So if you want anyone to know anything else about you, for example, this client of mine is a professor, you might want to write something about any other skills that you have that aren't going to be listed that you haven't had the opportunity to tick yet. Maybe you have like, 2 million following on TikTok. You can include anything that you feel like would be relevant, and you can always go back and update this. So any additional skills that you would like to include in this section that you haven't ticked that are on your resume that you want someone to know. Then we have these last two sections. So any disabilities that you would like to list that you want people to be aware of, list those. And then when you're done, at the very bottom, click save. After we click save, just give it a double check, make sure everything in here is good, and then we can click the red button at the top right hand corner that says preview profile, and you can start to see that we're building this profile out as we go. So let's continue on. Next up at the tools, go back to manage my profile. We did about me. Now we're clicking to the resume page. So grab your resume. I always suggest having it in a Google Doc. It's much easier to do this with a Google Doc. And I'm going to give you a really honest tip here right now. If you have an agent, if you want to update regularly, I highly suggest using Google as your main source because you are a business and having everything in one place is extremely helpful. So all you're going to do now is take your resume that you have and you're going to input it into Actors Access. We don't upload a PDF, it's nothing like that, it's all built in. Okay, so we want to create columns just like you have on your resume. 3 different columns. Left one is the show, middle is the role, and third one is the producer or the location, whatever is more relevant for you. We also want to make sure that we're clicking headers. So we're literally just going to take your resume, whatever it may be, and we're going to make a header. So depending on if you have a header that is theater. So mine has regional theater, workshops. Yours is probably going to be different as well. But whatever it is on your resume, that's all we're going to do right now is take your resume and input it into here. So I'm going to go through and do that right now for this client. Here is a tip. All I'm doing is literally going back in Google and copying and pasting, and it makes it like a ton easier to go back and forth. Just put all the information in here and then we can go back and say, is there anything that we want to move around? Do we want to make any different headers? It's just about getting the information in there really fast. And this has really only taken me like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. And this may also encourage you to update your actual resume as you're doing it. So I've got the basics of it in here as well. You may want to separate these into plays and musicals depending on your personal preference. And remember, we always want to list these in order of importance, not in order of most recent, and listing them in order of how you want to be seen right now. So if you have roles that are a little bit more important that you want to be seen for, then I would move those to the top and then move the ones that maybe are, a little bit a different chapter of your career. Maybe we want to move those down a bit. And then also if you want to highlight anything as well, let's make a header here for workshops. We'll tick header for this one. So right now, this client of mine wants them all listed in one. Again, that can change and move as he adds to this resume, but you have the option here. You could do plays in one category, musicals in one category, workshops, regional theater. If you have work in New York City, you really want to have a New York City header in here as well. It's just up to you of how you're going to create this based on your resume. Okay, let's go ahead and create one for training as well. Again, this is kind of up to you. There's no right or wrong way. And when you get an agent, your agent will kind of help you navigate this a little bit. But we want to start listing now training, any degrees that you have. And we're again just going to go over here and we are going to copy and paste what you already have in your resume. Now you might also, depending again on your resume, you might also want to list master classes or other workshops that you've done with people, any other training that has been most recent, any other special skills that maybe you haven't put in yet. And so I think for this one, I do want to include for this client any additional skills just so they really stand out, because they are proficient as a musician and also music theory and their fluency. We really want to navigate that and add that in here. So I'm going to add that in and then consult with them and just double check. But again, making this really super easy. Just copy and paste. And then you will just continue on. Whatever you have on your resume, you're going to put it into this as well, creating other sections. If you want to add in your website, or if you want to add in, if you have a major social media following, you can include that. But again, keep it short and sweet. Whatever you would put to somebody and hand to them on a resume, that's all we're putting in here as well. And you can update this as you see something and think of it and forgot and add it to later on. Let's move on now to the professional biography section down here. So if you'd like to include something in here about yourself that maybe again you haven't mentioned and you want someone to know, then you can include this as well. Whenever you're done with that, at the very bottom, we're going to click save. And then again, go to the top right hand corner where the big red button says preview profile. And you can see how this is already coming along and see what it looks like, and see if you want to update anything or switch anything as you move forward. So let's close that out. Go back up to My Tools, Manage My Profile. Let's click over to Size Card. Again, we're just going down. This is another option that you have for you that you don't have to do. You don't have to do this at all if it's not something that you feel really, called to write in. But a lot of people do ask for size cards when we tick the box when we submit. So it is helpful, but you'll want to fill this out as best as you possibly can. Again, a few of these elements are just for your rep if you have someone, but we want to just make sure that you're filling this out with what you feel is comfortable. And again, we're giving people the information that they need to see if we would be right for the project. Even in musical theater, a lot of times our jobs are looking for a woman to play this role, must be 5'6" or over. And if we just put it in here, then we can save some time and energy going back and forth. If I'm 5'4", I'm not 5'6", and if that's a requirement for the costume, then it just helps me filter those out a little bit better. And then a last little note here, the size card preferences. I do like to tick this because if you're gonna start to submit for film and television and commercial work, I just find it's easier just to include it and move on with life. But again, go through here, fill all of this out for whatever you feel comfortable with, and then click update at the very bottom. And then again, we can go check the what it looks like already updated as you're filling this out. Click the red button at the top, preview profile, and look, you can already see we're starting to fill it out with what you already have, making this easy to start submitting now. Let's go back up to My Tools, scroll down, Manage My Profile. Now we're into Photos. All right, so whether you're doing a free profile or you're updating one that you've already paid for, you get 2 free headshots to upload. Is more better? Yeah, sure, of course. But I would just say start with the 2. You can change them out. You get 2 free slate shots. Super helpful. But again, start with what you have. 2 is really like a baseline. You can read all of this information though and see the additional ones are $10 additional slate shots. And if you don't know, a slate shot is literally just a video of you saying, "Hi, I'm Ashley Espinosa." That's it. It's just your name. If you want to put those in, you can. Are they mandatory? No. Are they helpful? Could be, possible, but it's just one of those things that if it's free, I would say upload it. So I'm definitely going to have this client film some for me and upload them. Helpful tip here, as I'm uploading these photos, helpful tip for slate shots, if you can film them in what you did with your headshot or at the same time that you've done your headshot, just kind of makes it a little bit nicer and easier and concise so they look the same. All a slate shot is your headshot coming to life and just them hearing your voice and seeing you. And that's all it is. Hi, or I'm Ashley Espinosa. That's it. Nothing else in your slate shot, okay? Let's add photos. So I'm going to add 2 new photos for this client. We're going to click Browse, and we are going to pull their photos. Let's start with one. Okay, it's going to upload, and then we have to click the upload button at the top where it says upload. Okay, and then once that is there, we want to click Continue. Okay, and then we want to make sure it looks good. Continue at the bottom when you're done. Now we want to take and create the thumbnail. So you may have to kind of move this a bit to get it to where you want, but this is the thumbnail image that is going to show up when they see the image of your profile before they click into it. So we want to make sure that your head is in the shot and that it looks nice. Let's apply the changes. This is what it's going to look like on the right. That looks great. Let's continue. Perfect. That looks amazing. Great. So yes, add it to your account. If you have an agent like I do, you can have different headshots for different agents, depending on if it's just theatrical or film and television, if you're doing that as well. But if you don't have an agent, then you'll just click to and move on with life, and we'll click continue. Okay, great. Theatrical, we are musical theater, and if you want to do film and commercial, I have different photos for film and commercial, but this client is theater and musical theater right now, so let's click continue. Great. Perfect. Let's add another item. We want to add another photo while we're here because we're going to pick 2 photos, right? We get 2 for free. We want to use them. You can change these out at any time as well. So let's pick a contrasting photo. This is the contrasting photo this client has right now. And as this is uploading, I just want to remind you that it's better to start with something rather than do nothing. Okay? So it is better to have a shot that maybe is not perfect or amazing, but a shot that you can start submitting with right now rather than waiting for the perfect shot. Okay? That would be my suggestion to you. Do not wait for the perfect shot. Submit and learn as you go and get better shots as you go. Get better media as you go. Get better with knowing what shots you need for what submissions that you're submitting for. Click continue. We want to do this. And that's how this career is right now, is online submissions. So learn as you go and don't be scared to say, I have one headshot right now. Great. Start with that. Click continue. Great. We have 2 in our cart. We get 2 for free. See, it says free, quantity 1. Great. We want to click I am not a robot. And we are going to click submit, and it's free. So we've got these uploaded. It will take a little bit of time for these to roll over, but we should see them pretty soon. Let's go back up to my tools, manage my profile, photos. Let's tick on that, and let's just see. They're pending right now, so it will take a second for them to roll over and to get processed, and they'll be on your profile. So let's move on. My tools. Manage my profile. This is why I like it from the header too, because I don't have to go back to the dashboard and click those big things as we're doing this, but that's just me. You have to figure out what works best for you. Okay, we did photos. Media, this is the one that is going to cost you. Okay, let me give you a couple of tips here. This is just a basic crash course. I have other videos where I'm going to go into more depth about each of these, but I want you to have the information you need to start submitting now. Add new performance video, add a new audio demo. Audio demo is if you're submitting for voiceover work, but if you do have an audio demo that is of you singing, that might be an option, but we're really looking for a performance video. So we're looking for clips and reels, okay? Clips meaning like audition cuts. Think about what you would do in an audition room. 16 bars, 32 bars, less than a minute, maybe 30 seconds. That's a clip. It's one separate song or scene or monologue. That's a clip, something small that you would say, hey, I'm submitting for Tommy and Tommy, this is the song that I would sing in person. That's what I'm going to use. That's the clip I'm going to use to submit for this show. Okay, we're just navigating what we do in person online. That's all we're doing. Also, demos. If you have a demo reel, that is a great way to start off because you can say, I've got this one demo reel of me doing what I do best and highlights of me as a musical theater performer, whether it's on stage or whether it's a set of self-tapes. And you can use that and just submit for everything to start off with. You want to build as you go because as you can see right over here on the right-hand side, it is $22 per minute for you to upload your content. So you have to be smart. If you upload a 30-second video on here, it is still going to be $22 a minute. So make sure you use that full minute and that full $22. This client of mine has one great new audition cut song that they just filmed for another submission because they're equity and they did it through the Actors Equity submission page. This is what they have right now. Okay, so pick your song. Okay, click upload. It's going to take a second. And I want you to think about what is the most important video that you need right now to start submitting. It may be a reel, and you can do a great reel in 1 minute. Do not upload a reel that is like 3 minutes long. You don't need it. I would rather you have a 1 minute reel. Self-tapes are fine if you don't have performance footage, or your other option is to do 2 different contrasting clips that are 30 seconds. This client doesn't have that. That's the next step for them, but we're trying to get them to submit now rather than waiting. So I would say if you have one great self-tape, start with that. If you have 2 30-second clip self-tapes, start with that. If you have a reel that's maybe 1 minute, start with that. But it's better to have different options in the long run for tapes. And the reason why is because You want to have a tape that you can be specific for with each audition. Again, if you're submitting for, Jesus Christ Superstar, you may want your pop rock 30-second cut or 45-second cut, or you may want a reel that has those types of songs in it. But if you're submitting for like something that's more traditional, early Broadway, like Anything Goes, then you won't submit with the pop rock song. You would use a different song, right? That's what I mean with having options to submit for. So there's no right or wrong. Everyone asks me this question, and it's still processing as I'm talking here. But everyone has different options. Everyone has different opinions. The point I want to make to you is you have to submit with video. Please, submit with video. Submit with something that is you doing what you do really well. Better to start with one great $22 1-minute self-tape, or two 30-second self-tapes, or one great 1-minute reel than to not submit at all. It's $22, invest in your career, but start small. Better to start small and have a couple options than to upload a 4-minute reel. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? And we're not going to upload for every single submission. This is our go-to digital audition book. This is one of the most important things now that people often don't understand. This is your digital audition book that you're going to show up and submit for this show, this show, this show. And you're going to use whatever you have in your book that's ready and prepared digitally, already uploaded, for that role. That's as close to it as possible. We're not going to upload new content for every single audition. Do not do that. Okay, you will lose a lot of money and waste your time. Okay, so we have this one, whatever it is, a reel, a clip, multiple clips or reels, whatever it may be. I think I have a lot on mine. Mine even pop up here, you can see. When you're putting your title in here, it's best to say something as close to the title of the song, maybe what it's from, or a scene from this, or a monologue from this character. After we do that, we're gonna add video to cart. All we're doing is identifying it so they can see it easily and quickly. And for you to be able to identify it, or your agent to know what to submit. Okay, so we have that uploaded. You will see before you pay, it is $22 a minute. If you have like a minute and 2 seconds or a minute and 1 second, a lot of times it won't charge you. But it will tell you right here before you pay what it is. If you have multiple clips in here, they're all gonna add up per time. So if you have 3 clips and they add up to like 90 seconds, wait and don't pay for that second minute because you want to use all of it. Make sure you're using all of the time that you're paying for, because I'm not really I'm losing my 1 second, but I'm okay with that because I want the clip to be short and sweet. Better to upload a bunch of smaller clips than to upload one like 4-minute reel. Don't do that. Again, don't do that. If you're not ready to pay for it just yet, you can click save for later. But then note, because this account hasn't been updated yet, even when you do update your account to the pro account, which you're gonna do, it still will not give you any video for free. You will always have to pay for this. And once it's up here, if you take it off, you'll have to pay to reload it. Okay, so we can click proceed to checkout, and then we can go ahead and pay for this account, for this video to be uploaded. After you've uploaded your media, we'll go back to media. It will probably take a little bit of time. See, it's still pending. It's not popping up yet. So we need to give it a second to roll over. So we've uploaded everything. And now let's go down to manage rep. Just so you know what this means, manage representation means if you have an agent, it will show up here as well. I do on my account. If you get an agent, they will give you the information of how to link your account here as well. If you do want to try something out like Talent Link, I'm not going to comment on this in the video, but it's another way through Actors Access that you can find agents. Whole other conversation, but yes, like it says up here now, they will initiate it, your agent will initiate it to get signed up to their account as well. Okay, so let's go back up here. We did that. Click on email. We're just going to double check everything. This is an option too if you would like to email somebody your profile. As you can see, we already have the photos that are logged up here as well. Okay, video has not clicked over yet, but if you wanted to send this to anybody, you could do that through this section of your account. Next up, custom link. Click on that. Let me show you what it is. So we can change this, and I would say make it your name. You're a brand. Your brand is your name. And you click save, and then you can click copy this link, and you can send this link to anybody. This is your personal link, where if you're sending it to an agent or a casting, or you're posting on your website or socials or whatnot, you have an actual custom link that you can use on your own. Let's go back up to my tools. We did custom link, order history. We can tick on that. That's anything that you've paid for and ordered, right? So anytime you upload and pay for new media, that will be on here. If you pay to upload new headshots, that will be up on here as well. But again, we're starting out with simplicity in everything that we do. Cool? Cool. Just so you know how to navigate this as well, if you go up here to breakdowns, and I would say to go through your email, it's my biggest tip I can give you when you get an email every day that says these roles are, because you filled your profile out, these roles fit your profile. That will tell you the newest updated audition submissions. So you don't have to keep going back and doing this part of it, the search part, but let me show you. So again, if you are someone that's looking for musical theater work, most of it's going to be in New York. Click on New York up here as well. Okay, and you can start to scroll through all of these. I would highly suggest clicking on the breakdowns fit for me, and then clicking search at the very top here, and then you can start to navigate this as well. You can also filter your search a little bit more if you want to, and you can scroll down by, you can also navigate it, scrolling down, but you can also navigate it by ticking any of these categories in red. For example, I will tell some clients to click on type and scroll down to the ones that say theater. And that will help you navigate out of the film and television stuff very easily. And then you can go into any of these and you can click the breakdown, open up the breakdown, and this is how you can navigate and see it. Okay, you can see if this fits you or not. And if you would like to, if this is all good for you, if you would like to submit, then you just click on the profile. You pick the headshot specific to that profile. Notice how I'm being specific again. You would pick the headshot closest to that. You would scroll down, and then the next step would be to click the song or video clip that is perfect for that role. We're not refilming anything, right? Okay, so if you only have one, you tick the one. That's it, right? Closest one you have to that show that you would take into the room. Okay, next step, you can click size card if you want. I always encourage you to click it. Why not? Again, let's get the most bang for our buck out of this. And then notes for casting. Anything in the notes for casting would be something specific to the breakdown that gives you a leg up. If you speak Spanish and it's asking for Spanish, if you're local to the area, you could say that as well. Anything that's specific to the breakdown. Okay, and then at the end, you would click add to cart, and then you would go through and click submit, and that would be it. Okay, I'm not going to submit that for this client yet, but that's a way that you can check out all the breakdowns, and you can check them anywhere else in the country as well. And this is with the free account. I haven't even paid for this client to get the account yet to submit. If you do not have the paid account, when you go to submit, it will charge you a fee per submission. So that's breakdowns. We did my tools. We went through all of that. Submissions, this is where everything's going to pop up when you do start to submit yourself. You'll be able to see this list out, and you can go back and track what you've submitted for. Okay, auditions as well. This is going to be a filtered list of anything that you have asked an EcoCast for, a callback for, a request for tapes, and an in-person appointment, whatever it may be, it will fall into this category as well. Services, this is other parts of Actors Access that you can kind of dive into as well. And then contact is any questions that you have for Actors Access. That is how you set up your Actors Access profile for musical theater performers from scratch, from start to finish. Crash course, getting you into it. And now your job is to click submit. Click submit, see what happens, and then that way you can see what's out there in the world, what opportunities are available to you, and you can update it along the way based on your needs and your next step in your career. I'll see you in the next video.